My parents used my sister's illness as an excuse to neglect me for my entire life. So when I grew up and became successful without them, they found out and started making demands under the guise of family. But I kicked them to the curb, and now they won't stop begging for forgiveness. I don't have many dark secrets. Well, actually, I don't have any at all, except this one specific one that really haunts me. And I've been keeping it from my family for years. I knew it would blow up eventually, but I didn't expect it to literally happen last Thanksgiving. Buckle up. This is a wild one. I, 36F, practically grew up as the classic forgotten child archetype. Well, only from the age of 9, because that's when my Aunt Jen showed up at our house at 3 a.m., telling me to pack a bag because Mom was in the hospital. You see, she was pregnant, and my sister Charlotte was coming early, like 2 months early. The next few weeks ended up being a blur of hospital visits and hushed conversations. Charlotte was tiny. She looked like one of my porcelain dolls, but only if my porcelain was covered in tubes and wires. I tried to touch her, but then my dad slapped my hand away. That was the first time I felt it, this invisible barrier forming between me and my family. When they finally brought Charlotte home, our house transformed into this sterile bubble. Mom became obsessed with germs, industrial strength disinfectant everywhere, hand sanitizer stations in every room, constant cleaning. The smell of bleach still makes me anxious to this day. And maybe this wouldn't have been so bad. But then came the part that really messed me up. Whenever I showed even the slightest sign of being sick, I was immediately booted to either Grandma Dorothy's or Aunt Jen's house. At first, my childish brain thought it was a little fun. Grandma would bake cookies, while Aunt Jen had this cool collection of novels I was working through. And eventually, I figured out what's happening. It got to the point that I would wear triple layers of leggings in winter, just to avoid getting sick. But still, all their attention went to Charlotte. So I tried to get positive attention. I did everything I could to become my parents' dream child. Straight A's, no cussing, winning every science fair. I even managed to recite 10 different poems in Spanish. And in response, my dad just told me not to recite too close to Charlotte, in case my saliva gets on her and she gets sick. But the real gut punch came when I was 13. I'd spent months teaching myself to play Bridge Over Troubled Water on piano for the school talent show. Charlotte coincidentally had a fever the night of the show. Guess who had no one in the audience? Meanwhile, 2 weeks later, the entire extended family, including both sets of grandparents, showed up for Charlotte's 15-minute recorder recital. Charlotte saw this, and she quickly learned how to work the system. By age 8, she'd outgrown any real health issues. But of course, that didn't stop the performance. Headache? Had to stay home from school. Feeling tired? Someone else, guess who, should do her chores. Worried about a test? Mom would literally call the school to get the deadline extended. I retreated more and more to my bedroom, burying myself in books about art history and antiques. My room became my sanctuary, mostly because Charlotte claimed she was allergic to my vanilla air freshener, so it was the one place she wouldn't go. Then, the tables turned. Instead of avoiding being sent away, I started being grateful. I didn't even care whether it was me or her who got sick, because either way, I'd get sent to Grandma Dorothy, who would actually ask about my day or care what I was up to. She became a sort of motherly figure. She was the one who got me interested in vintage jewelry. Meanwhile, the only time my parents even mentioned my name was to say some BS like, oh, Charlotte just needs more attention because she had such a rough start. Taylor's always been so independent. Taylor understands her sister has special needs. But no, I did not understand. I was a kid who couldn't figure out why having a healthy immune system made me less deserving of love. But hey, at least it taught me self-reliance. When nobody checks your homework or cares about your achievements, you learn quickly to be your own cheerleader. But here's the thing about being invisible. No one's watching your failures or your successes. So do whatever the hell you want. To say I took advantage of this would be an understatement. In just